the day for our departure came. Our ship was a beauty, sleek and slim as a knife point, meant to cut the sea. The ship's boards were still sticky with new resin. We leaned over the railing to wave our last farewell, the sun-warm wood pressed against our bellies. The sailors heaved up the anchor and loosened the sails. Then they took their seats at the oars that fringed the boat like eyelashes, waiting for the count. The drums began to beat, and the oars lifted and fell, taking us to Troy.
But first to Aulis, where Agamemnon's mighty force assembles in a single place before it sails for Troy. Our men, the Myrmidons, disembark on the beach. They are chanting their prince's name. 2,500 men speaking as one.
Achilles! 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 Achilles!
As if in answer, the air changes. Bright sunlight pours over Achilles, rolling down his hair and back and skin, turning him to gold. He seems suddenly larger. His hair catches the light like a flame.
Thetis. It could be no one else. She is pulling his divinity forth, making the most of his dearly bought fame, mantling like cream over every inch of his skin.
On the shore, a pathway has been left open to him where the kings gather. Agamemnon steps forward. It is Achilles' turn to bow to our commander. He does not bow.
I am Achilles, son of Peleus, god-born best of the Greeks. I come to bring you victory!
Ah!
Agamemnon, lord of men, we have brought the Prince Achilles to pledge his allegiance.
I come freely to offer my aid to your cause. I am honored to fight with so many noble warriors of our kingdom.
Ah!
Indeed, I have the finest army in the world. And I welcome you to it, young Prince of Thea. It is a pity you were so slow to come. Men of Greece, we leave for Troy tomorrow. Prepare to your camps and make yourselves ready!
Yeah!
Wherever we go, we are observed. Achilles smiles and greets the men as we pass them. I hear the words whispered from behind beards, broken teeth, calloused hands. Aristos Achaia. Was he really as Odysseus and Diomedes had promised? Did they really believe his slender limbs could hold against an army of Trojans? Could a boy of 16 really be our greatest warrior? And everywhere, as I watch these questions, I see also the answers. Yes! They nod to each other. Yes! Yes! The next morning, I wake in a pool of sweat, my skin puckered and parched. Outside, the air hangs, heavy and humid. It is quiet. Strangely so. There is no flapping of canvas, no jingle of an unsecured harness. Even the sea is silent, flat as a polished bronze mirror.
There is no wind. We will not leave today.
The wind does not come. Not that day, or that night, or the next day either.
My mother says the weather is not natural. It's a message from the gods.
A month passes.
Another month. We are all going mad by the weight of the motionless air.
Finally, word comes. Agamemnon has spoken to the chief priest, Calchas.
Calchas believes we have offended the goddess Artemis.
Iphigenia, Agamemnon's daughter, and the youngest priestess of Artemis, has been invited to the camp to preside over the ritual of sacrifice.
Gather the cattle and mix the honey wine in preparation.
Then we hear more. This girl is being brought from Mycenae not just for the ceremony, but for marriage to one of our kings.
Prince Achilles, I have a proposition for you. Perhaps you have heard, I have a daughter, Iphigenia. I would wish her to be your wife.
Agamemnon offers you a great honor, Prince of Thea.
Yes, and I thank him. I'm honored that you would think of me.
Sadly, you will only have a night together before she must leave again. Of course, much may happen in a night.
It will be good, I believe, a wedding. Good for our families. Good for the men.
I accept, Agamemnon. I'll be proud to name you father-in-law.
Iphigenia is a good girl.
I'm sure she is. I'll be honored to have her as a wife.
Iphigenia arrives. The wedding is set to take place in our makeshift marketplace. Agamemnon stands on the dais, flanked by Odysseus. Achilles waits as grooms do at the dais' side. Iphigenia walks to the dais, her eyes searching for the husband she has been promised. She smiles at what she sees.
Then the girl stumbles. I remember Achilles frowning.
Agamemnon yanks something from his belt. The knife's edge falls against her throat. Blood spurts over the altar, spills down her dress.
The goddess is appeased.
Who knows what will happen next?
The air is close to the iron salt smell of her death.
Human sacrifice is an abomination.
And his own daughter. There is violence in us.
Then, before we can move, we feel something. Soft and cool on our cheeks and smelling like the sea. Wind. The wind has come. The goddess is appeased.
I should have done something. I was close enough. I could have saved her.
You could not have known. Odysseus, you let them murder her.
What makes you think I could have stopped them?
You would have if she had been your daughter.
I don't have a daughter.
Your wife, then. What if she had been your wife?
What do you wish me to say? That I would not have done it?
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't have. But perhaps that's why Agamemnon is king of Mycenae, and I rule only Ithaca.
Death is on your head.
You give me too much credit. I'm a counselor, only Patroclus, not a general.
You lied.
About the wedding? Yes. It was the only way Clytemnestra, her mother, would allow the girl to come.
You dishonored him.
Men have already forgotten he was part of it. They forgot when the girl's blood spilled.
It is convenient for you to think so.
You're angry. Not without reason, but why come to me? I did not hold the knife or the girl.
There's blood. All over her. Do you know what that did to you?
He has a tender heart. An admirable quality, surely. If it helps his conscience, tell Achilles I placed him where he was on purpose, so he would see too late. Can I give you some advice? If you are truly his friend, you will help him leave the soft heart behind. He's going to Troy to kill men, not to rescue them. He is a weapon, a killer. Do not forget it. You may use a spear as a walking stick, but that will not change its nature.
He is.
But he is the best the gods have ever made, and it is time that he knew it. And you did too. If you hear nothing else I say, hear that. I do not say it in malice.
You are wrong.
What was it like when you killed that boy?
Like?
What did it look like?
The blood came quickly, I remember that. And I couldn't believe how much there was. I remember the sound his head made against the rock.
Did he twitch? Like animals do?
I did not stay long enough to watch.
My father told me once to think of them like animals. The men I kill. I do not think I can bear it. I cannot stop seeing it. Her death.
It will not always be like that. She was a girl. And innocent, these will be men you fight. Warriors who will kill you if you do not strike first.
But you will not fight even if they strike at you first. You hate it.
Because I do not have the skill.
I do not think that's the only reason.
Perhaps not.
But you will forgive me?
I have no need to forgive you. You cannot offend me.
Water snake. Remember what Chiron taught us? Deadly bite.
I did not even see it.
You did not have to. I saw it.
2 days later, we reached Troy.
From the ships, we see the shoreline of Troy. Tall trees, mountains, green-brown land.
There are men on the beach! They knew we were coming!
They were waiting for us. Agamemnon has no order. Hold position.
Do not make land.
The tide is dragging us in.
We are almost in range of their arrows!
I do not see Achilles move, but I hear him, the whistle of air, and a soft exhalation. The spear is out of his hand and flying across the water that separates our deck from the beach. It is a gesture only. No spearman can throw half so far as an arrow can fly. It will fall well short. It does not! Its black head pierces the Trojan's chest! Arrows are flying on both sides!
Stay behind me.
Our men slide down ropes, lift huge shields for cover, and stream to shore. The Trojans are ready, but the shore offers no natural defense system, and we outnumber them. They relinquish the beach.
Now in safety, we pull our ships onto the sand and choose lots for the placement of each kingdom's camp. At night, Agamemnon calls the first council of kings. The men are decided between attack and diplomacy.
I will gladly go treat with them. It is my office to do so.
What have we come all this way for, Menelaus? If you intend to talk them into surrender, I could stay at home.
We are not savages. Perhaps they will hear reason.
But likely not. Why waste our time?
Because, dear King of Argos, if war comes after some diplomacy or delay, we do not seem so much the villains.
You are for it, then, is the custom.
There are many ways to start a war. I always believe raiding makes a good beginning. It accomplishes the same thing as diplomacy, but with greater profit.
Yes, Odysseus is right. Raids first, then perhaps we will send an embassy. We begin tomorrow. One final thing. If there is an attack, I do not want chaos. There must be lines and companies. Menelaus and I will take the center, of course.
Very wise, King of Mycenae. Messengers will be able to find you easily.
Exactly so. On my brother's left will be the Prince of Phthia, Odysseus on my right, Diomedes and Ajax the wings. The rest shall be determined by lot. It is settled. We begin tomorrow. Raids at sunup!
Those men you killed on the beach, did you think of them as animals like your father said?
No, I did not think at all.
Are you frightened?
This is what I was born to do.
The next morning, lying on our bed, I listened to his shouted orders, the stamps and snorts of horses, the chariot wheels. At least, I do not have to fear for his safety. As long as Hector lives, he cannot die. But when he returns, he is covered in blood. Is he hurt? And then I see it is not his blood he is covered in.
They could not get close enough to touch me. I did not know who he would be. Like nothing. The men cheered me afterwards. I cannot miss. I wish you had seen.
How many?
12.
Farmers.
Armed men. I would never kill an unarmed man.
How many will you kill tomorrow, do you think? I'm sorry. Tell me what it was like. All of it. And he does everything. How his first spear had pierced the hollow of a man's cheek. And how the second man had fallen, struck through the chest. I listened to every word. Imagining it is a story only. Dark figures uninert he speaks of instead of men.
With the raids come the distributions. This is a custom of ours. The awarding of prizes, the claiming of war spoils. First allotment usually goes to the army's best soldier, but Agamemnon names himself first and Achilles second. After Achilles, Ajax, then Diomedes, and then Menelaus.
In the third week, the girl mounts the dais amongst the swords and rugs and gold.
The men gathered eagerly. We know what her presence means. Agamemnon has given us permission for camp followers, for spear wives and bed slaves.
Take her. Take her as your prize. Before Agamemnon does. Please, you see the way he looks at her. You know his reputation. He will not be kind. Please.
Men of Greece! Oh! Great king of Mycenae.
Elides.
I would have this girl as my war prize.
Huh. I grant your wish, Principia. She is yours.
I will leave my men here to gather the rest of my belongings. The girl, come with me now. Come.
Let me untie you. No, no. We are not going to hurt you. I'm going to free you. What is your name? My name is Patroclus. Patroclus. I'm sorry. I'm frightening you. I will leave you.
Versailles.
What?
Versailles.
Versailles. You are safe here. There is a girl or two on the dais every night. I send Achilles to ask for them, to seek as many as he can, to save them from the voraciousness of the kings. The men tease him about his own insatiability.
I didn't even know you liked girls.
Versailles takes care of them. Soon we have to build a tent large enough to fit them all. 8, 10, 11 girls. Mostly it is I who speaks to them. Achilles stays away. He knows they have seen him killing their brothers, lovers, fathers. Some things cannot be forgiven.
Still, the men grow restless. Where is the fight we were promised?
Close. It is only a matter of time.
When we hear that King Priam will receive an embassy, the camp is afire with the news.
One way or another now, something will happen.
They'll return Helen, or we'll get to fight for her properly in the field.
And then one day, a soldier on watch comes down the beach to tell Agamemnon, King Priam will receive an embassy.
King Priam received us warmly, he and Hector and Paris and his other 48 sons. But Priam explained that if Helen did not wish to leave, she did not have to. He said she had requested his protection, and he would honor that request.
Clever. They have found a way around their guilt.
We told them if they were so resolved, there was no more to say.
Indeed, there is not. We have tried diplomacy and been rebuffed. Our only honorable course is war. Tomorrow, you go to win the glory you deserve. Every last man of you.
Yeah! Every last man. How could I not have thought of this? Of course I would be expected to fight. We were at war now. And all had to serve, especially the closest companion of Aristos Achaeon. That night I barely sleep. The fates had said nothing of me, nothing of how long I would live. I wake Achilles in panic.
I will be there.
In the dark before dawn, Achilles helps me arm. We join the Myrmidons. Achilles out front, then rank upon rank of Thean. Before us lies the wide plain of Troy, ending in the massive gates and towers of the city.
Stay behind me!
We lurch into a run. The front lines collide in an explosion of sound, a burst of sprayed splinters, bronze and blood. Achilles appears from somewhere. He grins at me, then turns and leaps into a clump of Trojans. I never try to kill anyone. I never manage it. Constant fear siphons and drains me, even though somehow I am always in a lull. A strange pocket of emptiness into which no men come, and I am never threatened. It takes me until mid-afternoon to see that it is Achilles' doing. His gaze is on me always, instinctively sensing the moment a soldier's eyes widen at the easy target I present. Before the man draws another breath, Achilles cuts him down. He is a marvel. Shaft after shaft flying from him, spears that he wrenched easily from broken bodies on the ground to toss at new targets. Again and again I see his wrist twist, exposing his pale underside, flute-like bones thrusting elegantly forward. I cannot see the ugliness of the deaths anymore. The brains, the shattered bones, all I can see is his beauty, his singing limbs, the quick flickering of his feet.
Dusk comes at last and releases us, limping and exhausted, back to the tents, dragging the wounded and dead. A good day, an auspicious beginning. Tomorrow, we do it all again.
We do it again and again. A day of fighting becomes a week, a month, a year.
My visits to the field fade to only when Achilles asks me to join him. Sometimes, as I watch him, I catch sight of a square of ground where soldiers do not go. It is near Achilles, and if I stare at it, it grows light, then lighter. At last it reluctantly yields its secret, a woman, white as death, taller than the men who toil around her. No matter how the blood sprays, it does not fall on her pale gray dress. Her bare feet do not seem to touch the earth. She does not help her son. She does not need to. Only watches, as I do, with her huge black eyes. I cannot read the look on her face. It might be pleasure, or grief, or nothing at all. From far off, glimpsed only quickly through the corridors of shifting men, I sometimes see Hector. He is always alone, strangely solitary in the space the other men give him. He is capable and steady and thoughtful, every movement considered. I never try to get closer to him, and neither does Achilles, who carefully turns from his glimpsed figure to face other Trojans. Afterwards, when Agamemnon asks when he will confront the Prince of Troy, Achilles smiles his most guileless, maddening smile.
What has Hector ever done to me?
His mother. Some part of me had hoped foolishly that she would not follow us here, that her grief would keep her away, or the distance. But of course they do not. The shore of Anatolia is no more inconvenient than the shore of Greece, and her grief only makes her stays longer. He leaves at dawn and returns when the sun is nearly at its peak. What can she possibly have to say to him for so long? Some divine disaster? Some celestial dictate that will take him from me? Briseis, wishing to be of comfort, waits with me for his return.
I am sure he will be back soon.
His mother is a goddess, a seer. He knows the seer.
I had thought he was something. He does not move like a human.
What does a human move like?
Like you.
Clumsy then?
No, that is not what I meant. You are not like that.
Thought I'd find you here.
What did you talk about with your mother?
She's worried about me.
Why?
She says there's strangeness among the gods, that they are fighting each other, taking sides in the war. She fears that they have promised me fame, but not how much. I think she's afraid someone else will kill Hector before me.
Who does she mean?
I don't know. Ajax has tried and failed. Diomedes too. They're the best after me. There's no one else I can think of.
What about Meleager?
Never. He's brave and strong, but that is all. He would break against Hector like water on rock. So, it is me or no one.
You will not do it.
No, but I can see it. That's the strange thing, like in a dream. I see myself throw the spear, I watch him fall, and I walk up to the body and stand over it.
And then what?
That's the strangest of all. I look down at his blood, and in my dream I know my death is coming, but I do not mind. What I feel most of all is relief.
Do you think it can be prophecy?
No, it's nothing at all. A daydream.
I'm sure you're right. After all, Hector hasn't done anything to you.
Yes, I've heard that.
During the long hours of Achilles' absence, I begin to stray from our camp, seeking something to occupy myself.
If you're looking for something to do, the Chian always needs help.
I am pointed towards the white physician's tent. Inside, Machaon is bending over a wounded man's leg.
You can't be very wounded if you can stand for so long.
No, I'm not.
Well?
Do you need help?
Sit down. Hold the salve for me. Wait, they brought us another. You take him.
I set to work. Later, Machaon would tell me how well the wounded man's leg healed, with no infection and little pain. The skills Chiron had taught me served me well, and I found myself in Machaon's tent more and more, helping out where I could. What a strange time. Over us, every second, hangs the terror of Achilles' destiny, while the murmurs of the war among the gods grow louder. But the days pass, and he lives. The months pass, and I can go a whole day without looking over the precipice of his death. The miracle of a year, then two. Our camp begins to form a sort of family, drawn together around the flames of the dinner fire. It was on one of these such nights that Achilles asked Briseis what she knew of Hector.
I do not know much. I have never seen him nor any of Priam's family.
But you have heard things.
A little. I know more of his wife.
Anything.
Her name is Andromache. She is the only daughter of King Eetion of Cilicia. Hector is said to love her above all things. He first saw her when he came to her father's kingdom for tribute. She welcomed him and entertained him at the feast that evening. The night's end, Hector asked her father for her hand.
She must have been very beautiful.
People say she is fair, but not the fairest girl Hector might have found. She is known for her sweet temper and her gentle spirit. The country people love her because she brings them clothes and food. She was pregnant, but I have not heard what became of the child.
Where is Cilicia?
It is to the south, along the coast, not far from here.
We raided Cilicia. Did you know?
No.
I remember that man Eetion. He had 8 sons that tried to hold us off.
You killed them?
Yes.
I knew he killed men every day. He came home wet with their blood. But there were moments like now when that knowledge overwhelmed me. When I would think of all of the tears that he had made fall in all the years that had passed. He seemed to sit across the world from me then. But he was so close I could feel his warmth rising from his skin. His hands, though spear calloused, were still beautiful. No hands had ever been so gentle or so deadly.
We left one son alive, the 8th son, so that their line would not die.
Strange that such a small kindness feels like grace, and yet, what other warrior would have done as much? This surviving son would have children. He would give them his family's name and tell their story. I am glad.
It is strange. I've always said Hector has done nothing to offend me. He cannot say the same now.
and Thersites, one of Ajax's soldiers, began to complain about the war slang. At first he was ignored. The man was hideously ugly and known to be a scoundrel. But he grew eloquent.
4 years, and nothing to show for it. Where is our treasure? Where's the woman? When do we get to go home? You see how they treat us?
Slowly, as discontent spread from one camp to the next. It had been a particularly bad season, wet and miserable for fighting. Injuries abounded, rashes and mud-turned ankles and infections. The biting flies settled so thickly over parts of the camp they looked like clouds of smoke. Sullen and scratching, the men began to loiter around the agora. At first, they did nothing, collecting in small groups, whispering. Then the one who had begun it joined them, and their voices grew louder.
4 years. How do we know she's even in there? Has anyone seen her?
Troy will never submit to us. We should all just stop fighting!
When Agamemnon heard, he ordered them whipped. The next day, there were twice as many, not a few were Mycenaeans. Agamemnon sent an armed force to disperse them. The men slunk off and then returned when the force was gone. Agamemnon used spies to report on those who complained. These men were then seized and whipped. The next morning, several hundred refused to fight. Some gave illness as an excuse, some gave no excuse at all. Word spread and more men took suddenly ill. The men threw their swords and shields in a heap on the dais and blocked the agora. When Agamemnon tried to force his way through, they folded their arms and would not budge.
Men of Greece! You are angry. Speak your grievance.
We want to leave. The war is hopeless. The general lied to us.
It's been 4 years.
It is your right to question such things. You feel misled. You were promised victory.
Yes.
Well, tell me. Do you think Aristus and Chion fights in hopeless wars? Well? No, I do not. I will swear so on any oath. I am here because I believe we will win. I am staying until the end.
That is fine for you, but what of those of us who wish to leave?
You're welcome to leave whenever you'd like.
Really?
Of course. But I get your share of treasure when we take Troy. It is past time that we take to the field. The Trojans will start to think we are afraid. Who dares to show them otherwise?
Yeah!
In the aftermath of the almost rebellion, Odysseus devised a project to keep the men too busy for further unrest. A giant palisade to run around our entire camp. 10 miles he wanted it built, protecting our tents and ships from the plain beyond. As the men went cheerfully off to the woods with their hatchets and levels, Odysseus found the original trouble-causing soldier, Thersites, and had him quietly beaten into unconsciousness. That was the end of the mutinies at Troy.
Things changed after that, whether because of the joint venture of the wall or the relief of violence averted. All of us, from the lowest foot soldier to the general himself, began to think of Troy as a sort of home. Our invasion became an occupation. During this time, 6-7 years in which I spent more and more time in Machaon's tent and fewer with Achilles in the field, I got to know these other men well. Eventually everyone made their way here, if only for smashed toes or ingrown nails. And it was not just the common soldiery. In time, I came to know the kings as well. It moved me to see how much they trusted me, turned hopeful faces towards me for comfort. I grew to like them, no matter how difficult they could be in council. I developed a reputation of standing in the camp. I was asked for, known for my quick hands and how little pain I caused. I began to surprise Achilles, calling out to these men as we walked through the camp. I was gratified at how they would raise a hand in return, point to a scar that had healed over well.
I don't know how you remember them all. I swear, they all look the same to me.
That's Sthenelus, Diomedes' charioteer. And that's Patroclus, whose brother was the first to die, remember?
There are too many of them. Simpler if they just remember me.
I wake before dawn. I feel the first twinging cold of fall in the air. It was a festival day, the harvest of first fruits to the god Apollo. She does not come through the door. She is simply there in the tent center where a moment before there had been empty space.
Mother.
I have received a warning. Apollo is angry and looks for ways to move against the Greeks. You will sacrifice to him today?
I will.
You must. A hecatomb. Whatever the others do, do this. The gods have chosen sides, and you must not draw their anger.
We will do it.
There is more.
What is it?
A prophecy that the best of the Myrmidons will die before 2 more years have passed.
We have known it was coming.
No. The prophecy says you will still be alive when it happens.
What do you think it means?
I do not know. I fear a trick. Be watchful. You must take care.
I will.
He is not worthy of you. He has never been.
We disagree on this. She's angry.
I know.
Who is the best of the Myrmidons, do you think, if I am excluded?
I don't know.
Do you think it means my father?
Maybe.
Suppose we will know soon enough.
It is not you. At least there is that.
Briseis asked me to teach her medicine in return for a knowledge of the area's herbs. I agreed and passed many contented days with her in the forest. I should have seen it coming. Perhaps you will think me stupid that I did not. We were sitting close to each other, heads together as if in conspiracy. Her lips touched mine. I was so surprised I did not move. My pulse sounded in my ears, but it was not as Achilles made it sound. It was something more like surprise and a fear that I would hurt her.
I'm sorry. I know that you love him, I know. I thought that some men have wives and lovers both.
Briseis, if I ever wished to take a wife, it would be you.
But you do not wish to take a wife.
No, I'm sorry.
Do you not ever want children?
I don't think I'd make much of a parent.
No, I do not believe that.
No. Do you?
Maybe. Shall we go?
There was nothing to do but rise and join her. That night I couldn't stop thinking about it. Briseis is in my child. I saw stumbling legs and dark hair and the mother's big eyes. I saw us by the fire, Briseis and I. And the baby playing with some bit of wood I had carved. But there was an emptiness to the scene, an ache of absence. Where was Achilles? Dead? Or had he never existed at all? I could not live in such a life. But Briseis had not asked me to. She had offered me all of it, herself and the child, and Achilles too. Do you ever think of having children?
I have a child.
It shocked me anew each time I thought of it. His child with Deidamia. A boy, Thetis had told him, called Neoptolemus, New War, nicknamed Pyrrhus for his fiery red hair. It disturbed me to think of him, a piece of Achilles wandering through the world. Does he look like you?
I didn't ask.
You wish you could see him?
He's best with my mother. It's best that she raised him.
Achilles? Do you like Briseis?
Like her?
Enjoy her, you know?
What does this have to do with children?
Nothing.
Does she wish to have a child?
Maybe.
With me?
No!
That's good. With you? She wants to have a child with you. Is she pregnant?
No.
Do you want to?
No. I don't think so, no.
If you wanted it, it would be all right.
It is all right now. One day in the 9th year, a girl mounted the dais. There was a bruise on her cheek, spreading like spilled wine down the side of her face. Ribbons fluttered from her hair, ceremonial fillets that marked her as servant to a god, a priest's daughter.
This is Chryseis, and I take her for myself.
It was barely a month after that the girl's father came, walking down the beach with a staff, gold-studded wood, threaded with garlands.
I am Chryses, high priest of Apollo. I come bearing gold and gems.
None of this tells us why you have come, priest Chryses.
I have come to ransom my daughter Chryseis, taken unlawfully by the Greek army from our temple. She's a slight girl and young, with fillets in her hair.
Is this how a man begs? You are lucky I do not kill you on the spot. I am this army's commander. You have no leave to speak before my men. Here's your answer. No, there will be no right. Taken as a prize, I will not give her up now or ever. Not for this trash or any other you can bring. You will depart now, and let me not ever catch you in my camps again, priest. For even your garlands will not save you.
That night, slipping among us like a snake, quick and silent and flickering, the plague began. When we woke the next morning, we saw the mules drooping against their fences, breasts heaving, eyes rolling. Then by midday, it was the dogs, whining and snapping at the air, tongues foaming. By the late afternoon, every one of the beasts was dead or dying. We burned them as fast as they fell, tossing them onto the pyres. When we went back to the camp that night, Achilles and I scrubbed ourselves in the harsh salt of the sea, and then with clean water from the stream in the forest. We did not use the Trojan rivers the other men washed in and drank from. In bed, later, we speculated in hushed whispers, unable to help but listen for the hitch of our own breath, the gathering of mucus in our throats, but we heard nothing except our voices repeating the remedies Chiron had taught us, like murmured prayers.
The next morning it was the men. Dozens, pierced with illness, crumpled where they stood. We ran to drag each newly dropped man down as suddenly as if by spear or arrow. At the edge of the camp, a field of sick men glimmered. 10, then 20, then 50 of them, shuddering, calling for water, tearing off their clothes for respite from the fire they claimed raged in them. At last, their violent trembling ceased.
Achilles and I built pyre after pyre, burning every scrap of wood we could find. Finally, we abandoned ritual and dignity for necessity, tossing onto each fire not one, but a heap of bodies. We did not have enough time to stand watch over them as their flesh and bone mingled and melted together. Eventually, most of the kings joined our work, except Agamemnon, who did not leave his tent. Another day then, and another, and every king, every company had lost dozens of men. Although strangely, Achilles and I noted our hands pulling closed eyelid after eyelid. None of them were kings, only minor nobles and foot soldiers. None of them were women. This too we noticed. Our eyes found each other, full of suspicions that grew, as men dropped suddenly with a cry, hands clutching their chests where the plague had struck them like the quick shaft of an arrow. It was the 9th night of this. We stood in our tent gasping with exhaustion. Our suspicions tumbled out, confirmed in 1,000 ways that this was not a natural plague, not the creeping head spread of haphazard disease. It was something else, sudden and cataclysmic, as the snuffing of Aulis' winds, a god's displeasure. Achilles slipped out of our tent when the moon was high. He came back sometime later, smelling of the sea. What does she say?
She says we are right. Men of Greece!
What is this?
I've gathered the men to speak of the plague. Do I have your leave to address them? Kings, lords, men of the Greek kingdom, how can we fight a war when we are dying of a plague? It is time, past time, that we learn what we did to deserve a god's anger. We have a man among us here, a priest, a man close to the gods. Should we not ask him to speak? Is this not what you recommended to me, Agamemnon?
Yes, I did. Bring me Calchas.
High King and Prince Achilles. Catch me unprepared. I did not think, that is, I did not expect that I would be asked to speak here before so many.
Speak!
You have done sacrifices, surely. You have prayed?
I have, of course I have. It's just that I am afraid that what I have to say might anger someone. Someone who is powerful, does not forget insults easily.
Calchas, this is not the time for such fears. We are dying of a plague. I would not blame you even if you named me as the cause. Would any of you? You see, no sane man would ever harm a priest.
The auguries have shown that it is the god Apollo who is angry. He is offended, so it seems according to the omens, at the treatment of his dedicated servant Chryses. To appease him, King Agamemnon must return the girl without ransom and offer frozen sacrifices.
Thank you, Calchas. Thank you for always bringing good news. Last time, it was my daughter. Kill her, you said. You have offended the goddess. Now, you seek to humiliate me before my army. Am I not your general? Do I not see you fed and clothed and honored? Are not my Mycenaeans the largest part of this army? She is mine, my prize. I will not give her up. Have you forgotten who I am?
Agamemnon, I do not think any of us have forgotten that you are leader of this host. But you do not seem to remember that we are kings in our own right, or heads of family, or princes. We are allies, not slaves. Now, while you complain about the loss of a girl you should have ransomed long ago, you say nothing of the plague you have started or the lives you have taken. I do not mean to dishonor you. I only wish to end the plague. Send the girl to her father and be done.
I understand you, Achilles. You think because you're the son of a sea nymph, you have the right to play high prince wherever you go. You have never learned your place among men. You will not speak another word. You will be silent, or you will be sorry.
Or I will be sorry. I do not think, High King, you can afford to say such things to me.
Do you threaten me? Did you not hear him threaten me?
This is not a threat. What is your army without me?
You have always thought too much of yourself. We should have left you where we found you, hiding behind your mother's skirts. In a skirt yourself.
You say this to draw attention away from yourself. If I had not called this council today, how long would you have let your men die? Can you answer that?
When all of these brave men came to Aulis, they knelt to offer me their loyalty, all except you. I think we have indulged your arrogance long enough. It is time, past time, that you swore the oath.
I do not need to prove myself to you. To any of you. I am here of my own free will, and you're lucky that it is so. I am not the one who should be kneeling.
Do you hear his pride? You will not kneel.
No.
Then you are a traitor to this army, and you will be punished as one. Your war prizes are hostage, placed in my care until you offer your obedience and submission. Let us start with that girl. Briseis is her name. She will do as penance for the girl you have forced me to return.
The girl is mine. Given to me by all the Greeks. If you take her, your life is forfeit. Think on that, High King, before you bring harm to yourself.
I do not fear you. I will have her. Bring the girl.
Agamemnon, your words today have caused your death and the death of your men. I will fight for you no longer. Hector will grind you to bones and bloody dust, and you'll come crying to me for mercy, but I will give none. Your words today have killed them all. I will kill him! I will kill him! I almost did it there, I should have done it! You saw the cowards bit their tongues and did not dare to speak? I hope he takes all of their war prizes. I hope he swallows them one by one.
Achilles,
come in.
I am sorry to disturb you. Phoenix told me to stay so I could listen and tell you what happened.
And?
Agamemnon asked why Hector still lived. He said that they do not need you, that perhaps you are not what you say you are. They are coming now for Zeus.
Leave us.
We have to do something. We can hide her in the forest or among the myrmidons.
He will pay now. Let him come for her. He has doomed himself.
What do you mean? We don't have time for this. We must do something now.
What are you talking about?
Briseis.
I can do nothing for her. If Agamemnon chooses his path, he must bear the consequences.
You're not going to let him take her.
It is his choice. I told him what would happen if he did.
You know what he will do to her.
It's his choice. He would insult me. He would deprive me of my honor. Let him.
You will not help her.
There's nothing I can do for her.
She is one of us. How can you just let him take her? Where is your honor? How can you let him defile her?
Where are you going?
I have to warn her. She has a right to know what you have chosen. Briseis.
What is it? Are you okay? Is Achilles all right?
Something has happened. Achilles went to speak with the men today. The plague is Apollo's.
We thought so.
Agamemnon did not. He was angry. He and Achilles quarreled. Agamemnon wants to punish him.
Punish him? How?
He is sending men for you.
I'm here for the girl.
How can you let her go?
I must go speak with my mother.
Go then! I watch him leave. I do not know this man. He is no one I have ever met before. My rage towards him is as hot as blood. I will never forgive him. I imagine tearing down our tent, stabbing myself in the stomach and bleeding to death. I want to see his face broken with grief and regret. I want to shatter the cold mask of stone that has slipped down over the boy I knew. He has given her to Agamemnon, knowing what will happen. Now he expects that I will wait here, impotent and obedient. I have nothing to offer Agamemnon for her safety. I cannot bribe him, and I cannot beg him. The king of Mycenae has waited too long for this triumph. He will not let her go. I think of a wolf guarding its bone. There were such wolves on Helion who would hunt a man if they were hungry enough. If one of them is stalking you, Chiron had said, you must give it something it wants more than you. There is only one thing that Agamemnon wants more than Briseis. Agamemnon, I swear that the news I bring you is truth. I swear it on my blood.
Oh, well, speak your news then.
You are in the gravest danger.
Are you threatening me? Is that why he has sent you?
No, he has not sent me at all.
Surely you come with his blessing.
No. He knows what you intend towards the girl.
And?
Do you not wonder why he did not prevent you from taking her? He could have killed your men and all your army. Do you not think he could have held against you? He let you take her. He knows you will not resist betting her, and this will be your downfall. She is his, won through fair service. The men will turn on you if you violate her, and the gods as well. You are at your power's limit, even in taking her.
My counselors have said nothing of this.
Perhaps they do not know what you intend. Or perhaps it serves their own purposes. Who will rule if you fall?
You betray him by warning me.
I do.
Why?
Because he is wrong.
You have done well. You show yourself loyal to your true master. Does he know what you have done?
Not yet.
Ah. If he will come and kneel for pardon, I swear I will release her. It is only his own pride that keeps his honor from him, not I. Tell him.
Your wrist.
Treat her well.
Where have you been?
In the camp. How is your mother?
She's fine. You're bleeding.
I know.
Let me look at it. A knife?
Yes.
Will you tell me who did this to you?
I did it to myself.
Why?
For an oath. I went to Agamemnon. I told him of your plan.
My plan?
To let him rape Briseis, so that you might revenge yourself on him.
So you warned him?
I did.
You know if he had done it, I could have killed him, or exiled him, forced him from the throne. The men would have honored me as a god.
I know.
Her safety for my honor. Are you happy with your trade?
There is no honor in betraying your friend.
It is strange that you'd speak against betrayal at this time.
It was the only way.
You chose her. Over me.
Over your hubris.
I will not live much longer. Memory is all I can hope for. You know this. My life is my reputation. And would you let Agamemnon destroy it? Would you help him take it from me?
I would not. But I would have the memory be worthy of the man. I would have you be yourself. Not some tyrant remembered for his cruelty. There are other ways to make Agamemnon pay. We will do it. I will help you. I swear. But not like this. No fame is worth what you did today.
So it is done then. She is safe. You would not have returned otherwise.
Yes, she is safe.
You're a better man than I.
No, it is not true. You left yourself today, and now you have returned.
Do not say that. Until you've heard the rest of what I have done. My mother has a plan. I will fight for Agamemnon no longer. At every turn, he seeks to rob me of my rightful glory, to cast me into shadow and doubt. But he will learn. I'll teach him the worth of his army without Aristosachia. The Greeks will fall without me to defend them. They will be forced to beg or die. My mother says Zeus will do it.
I don't understand, Zeus.
He's in her debt. Zeus will crush them against the sea, and they will lose and lose and lose. And then they will see who they must beg for.
But what if he will not beg?
Then they will die. They will all die. I will not return until he does. Did you hear what I said?
I heard. Greeks will die. The next morning, all of the other kings march out with their armies to face the Trojans. The army of Thea does not follow. Achilles and I linger long after breakfast. Why should we not? There is nothing else for us to do. We may swim if we like, or play at draughts, or spend all day racing. We have not been at such utter leisure since Pelion, but it does not feel like leisure. It feels like a held breath, like an eagle poised before the dive. My shoulders hunch, and I cannot help from looking down the empty beach. We are waiting to see what the gods will do. We will not have to wait long.
There is a trumpet the next morning at dawn. We rise and climb the hill to see an army of horsemen riding from Troy from the east. The horses are large and move with unnatural speed, carrying light-wheeled chariots behind them. At their head sits a huge man, larger than Ajax. He wears his black hair long like the Spartans do, oiled and swinging down his back. He carries a standard in the shape of a horse's head.
Who are they?
The Lycians, allies of Troy. It's a wonder they just arrived. It's as if Zeus summoned them himself.
Who is that?
Sarpedon, son of Zeus.
The gates open and the Trojans pour out to meet their allies. Hector and Sarpedon clasp hands and lead their troops to the field. The Lycian weapons are strange, saw-toothed javelins and things that look like giant fish hooks for ripping into flesh. All that day we hear battle cries and the pounding hooves of their cavalry. There is a steady stream of Greek wounded into Machaon's tent.
Iphigenia is wounded. The Lycians broke the left flank. Hector and Sarpedon will crush us between them.
Did you hear that?
I hear it.
Rumors come thick as biting flies, tales of the Trojan army driving forward, unstoppable and bold in Achilles' absence. Of frantic councils where our kings argue over desperate strategy, night raids, spies, ambushes, and then more, Hector ablaze in battle, burning through Greeks like a brush fire, every day more dead than the day before. Finally, panicked runners bringing news of retreats and wounds among the kings.
It will not be long now.
The funeral pyres burn through the night, their greasy smoke smeared across the moon. I try not to think how each one is a man I know. New. Phoenix and Odysseus come to speak with Achilles. It is Phoenix, of course, who begins. He talks first of things, casual words that he drops into our laps, one at a time, a list, really.
We will give you 12 bronze tripods, 7 beautiful girls, 10 bars of gold, 20 cauldrons and more, goblets, bowls, armor, and of course Perseus' return. There's so many Greek dead. And the Trojans are less than 1,000 paces from our wall. Would you like proof? We can probably see their watchfires from the hill just beyond camp. They will attack at dawn.
No.
She's not been harmed, you know, Perseus. God knows where Agamemnon found the restraint, but she is well kept and whole. She and your honor wait only for you to reclaim them.
You make it sound as if I've abandoned my honor. Is that what you spin? Are you Agamemnon's fighter catching flies with that tail?
Very poetic. But tomorrow will not be a bard's song. Tomorrow the Trojans will break through the wall and burn the ships. Will you stand by and do nothing?
That depends on Agamemnon. If he returns the honor he has taken me, I'll march the Trojans all the way to Persia if you like.
Tell me, why is Hector not dead? I do not seek an answer. I merely repeat what all the men wish to know. In the last 10 years you could have killed him 1,000 times over, yet you have not. It makes a man wonder. You have eked out 10 more years of life, and I'm glad for you. But the rest of us are forced to wait for your leisure. You are holding us here, Achilles. You were given a choice and you chose. You must live by it now. You've made a fair run of blocking fate's path, but you cannot do it forever. The gods will not let you. The thread will run smooth, whether you choose it or not. It's better to make it go at your pace than theirs.
That is what I'm doing.
Very well. I have said what I came to say.
It is time for you to leave.
No, not yet. I too have something I wish to say. Achilles, when you were a boy, your father gave you to me to raise. Your mother was long gone, and I was the only nurse you would have, cutting your meat and teaching you myself. And now you are a man, and still I strive to protect you from sword and spear and folly. But whatever you do, I will stand with you as I always have. But before you decide your course, there is a story that you should hear. In the days of your father's father, there was a young hero, Meleager, whose city was besieged by the Curetes. First, the Curetes were losing, worn down by Meleager's skill in war. But then one day, there was an insult, a slight to his honor by his own people, and he refused to fight any longer on his city's behalf. His people offered him gifts and apologies, but he would not hear them. Instead, he stormed off to his room to lie with his wife Cleopatra and be comforted by her. Finally, when her city had fallen, her friends lay dying, she could take it no longer, and she went to her husband to beg him to fight once more. He loved her above all things, and so agreed. He won his people a mighty victory. But though he saved them, it came too late. Too many lives had been lost to his pride. So they gave him no gifts, no gratitude, only their hatred for not having spared them sooner.
In the silence, I can hear Phoenix's labored breathing. I am afraid that they will see the expression that is clear on my face. It was not honor that made Meleager fight, or his friends, or victory, or revenge, or even his own life. It was Cleopatra. On her knees before him, her face streaked with tears. This is Phoenix's craft. Cleopatra, Patroclus, her name built from the same pieces as mine, only reversed. If Achilles noticed, he does not show it. His voice is gentle for the old man's sake, but still he refuses.
No. Not until Agamemnon returns the honor he has taken from me.
My chest tightens in panic and a quick desire to kneel before him and beg, but I do not. For like Phoenix, I am declared already, decided. I am no longer to guide the course, merely to be carried into darkness and beyond, with only Achilles' hands at the helm.
Patroclus, it is too dangerous for you to be here. Agamemnon is in a rage. He will kill you.
Because Achilles refused the embassy?
Agamemnon comes often to look in on me. You are not safe here. You must go.
I will be quick, but I have to speak with you. Odysseus says that tomorrow the Trojans will break the wall and storm the camp. We must get you somewhere safe, in the forest or among the Myrmidons.
I cannot. That is the first place he will look. It will only make more trouble. I will be all right here.
What if they storm the camp?
I will surrender to Aeneas, Hector's cousin, if I can. He is known to be a pious man, and his father lived as a shepherd for a time near my village. If I cannot, I will surrender to Hector or any of the sons of Priam.
It is too dangerous. You must not expose yourself.
I do not think they will hurt me. I am one of them, after all.
Of course. You will be free then.
Patroclus. The men. They are angry with Achilles. They blame him for their losses. Agamemnon sends his people among them to stir up talk. They have almost forgotten about the plague. The longer he does not fight, the more they will hate him. Will he not fight?
Not until Agamemnon apologizes.
Trojans too. There is no one they fear more or hate more. They will kill him if they can tomorrow, and all who are dear to him. You must be careful.
He will protect me.
I know he will, as long as he lives. But even Achilles may not be able to fight Hector and Sarpedon both. If the camp falls, I will claim you as my husband. May help some. You must not speak of what you were to him, though. Be a death sentence. Promise me.
If he is dead, I will not be far behind.
Then promise me something else. Promise me that whatever happens, you will not leave Troy without me. I know that you cannot. I had rather live as your sister than remain here.
That is nothing that you have to bind me to. I would not leave you here if you wish to come. It grieved me to think of the war ending tomorrow and never seeing you again.
I am glad.
I should go.
Be careful tomorrow. best of men, best of the Myrmidons. It's true. Let it stand for once.
That night in bed beside Achilles, his face is innocent. Sleep smooth and sweetly boyish. I love to see it. This is his truest self, earnest and guileless, full of mischief, but without malice. He is lost. In Agamemnon and Odysseus' wily double meanings, their lies and games of power. They have confounded him, tied him to a stake, and baited him. I would untie him if I could, if he would let me. Burst from the blue of the sky. There is no rain, only the gray air crackling and dry. Jagged streaks that strike like the clap of giant hands. Smoke, acrid and dark, is drifting up the beach towards us. The attack has begun and Zeus is keeping his bargain. We feel a pounding deep in the ground. A charge of chariots, perhaps, led by huge Sarpedon. This is the first time in 10 years that the Trojans have ever threatened the gate, ever pushed so far across the plain. If they break through the wall, they will burn the ships, our only way of getting home. This is the moment Achilles and his mother have summoned. The Greeks, routed and desperate, without him. I watch him staring over the ocean. It is unnaturally still, as if Thetis is holding her breath. Down the beach, chaos. Outside the remove of our camp, the sounds of battle grow louder. Piercing screams of horses impaled on the stakes of the trench. The desperate shouts of the commanders, the clangor of metal on metal. And then there is a terrible crashing. The wall we built. Screams follow of triumph and terror. All around me are men, carrying fallen comrades, limping on makeshift crutches or crawling through the sand, dragging broken limbs behind them. I know them. Their torsos full of scars my ointments have packed and sealed. Their flesh that my fingers have cleaned of iron and bronze and blood. 2 ships are on fire. Pressed against their hulls is a crush of men, screaming, desperate, leaping to the decks to beat at the flames. And then I see a sudden hand grip the sharp nose of a ship. And then the arm beneath it, sure and strong and dark. Hector. His face is smoothed, at peace, his eyes lifted. A man in prayer, a man seeking God. He hangs there a moment, muscles in his arms knotted and flexed. Armor lifting on his shoulders, showing hip bones like the carved cornice of a temple. And then his other hand swings a bright torch towards the ship's wooden deck. The flames catch immediately. Hector smiles. And why should he not? He is winning.
What has happened?
They are dying. All of them. The Trojans are in the camp. They are burning the ships. There is no one left but you to save them.
If they are dying, it is Agamemnon's fault. I told him what would happen if he took my honor.
Last night he offered
nothing. Some tripod, some armor, nothing to make right his insult or to admit his wrong. I've saved him, time and again. His army, his life. Odysseus may lick his boots, but I will not.
He is a disgrace. I know it, and all the men know it too. You must forget him. It is as you said, he has doomed himself, but do not blame them for his fault. Do not let them die because of his madness. They have loved you and honored you.
Honored me? Not one of them stood with me against Agamemnon. Not one of them spoke for me. They stood by and let him insult me as if you were right. I toiled for them for 10 years, and the repayment is discarded. They have made their choice. I shed no tears for them.
They were foolish, yes, but they are still our people.
The Myrmidons are our people. The rest can save themselves.
You are destroying yourself. You will not be loved for this. You will be hated and cursed. Please, if you...
Patroclus, I will not do this. Do not ask me again.
For me, then. Save them for me. I know what I am asking of you, but I ask it. For me.
Anything. Anything but not this. I cannot.
If you love me.
No! If I yield, Agamemnon can dishonor me whenever he wishes. The kings will not respect me nor the men. Do you think I wish them all to die? I cannot. I will not let Agamemnon take this from me.
Then do something else. Send the Myrmidons at least. Send me in your place. Put me in your armor, and I will lead the Myrmidons. They will think it is you. Do you see? You will not have to break your oath. Yet the Greeks will be saved.
But you cannot fight.
I will not have to. They are so frightened of you. If I show myself, they will run.
No. It's too dangerous.
Please, it isn't. I will be all right. I won't go near them. Automedon will be with me and the rest of the Myrmidons. If you cannot fight, you cannot. But save them this way. Let me do this. You said you would grant me anything else.
But Hector...
Think! Agamemnon will know you defy him still, but the men will love you. There is no fame greater than this. You will prove to them all that your phantom is more powerful than Agamemnon's whole army. It will be your mighty name that saves them, not your spear arm. They will laugh at Agamemnon's weakness then. Do you see?
Swear to me. Swear to me that if you go, you will not fight. You will stay with Automedon the chariot and let the Myrmidons fight in front of you.
Yes, of course. I am not mad to frighten them. That is all. You will let me?
You must not fight. You are to stay with Automedon the chariot and let the Myrmidons fight in front of you. You can chase the Trojans, but do not fight them. And most of all, stay away from the walls where the archers are perched. It will not be like before when I was there.
I know. Hurry.
You must not leave the chariot. You must not throw your spears.
I will be all right.
Bring him back to me.
Are you ready?
Be careful.
I will. I'm ready. I heard their shouts of recognition. Achilles! It is Achilles! It is working. The Trojans began to break apart before me. I threw a long spear into the breast of a Trojan. Dead. The Greeks began to rally. From the roiling melee bursts a giant figure. It is Sarpedon. I cast the spear. It hits his belly and he tumbles. I have killed a son of Zeus.
then I see the walls of Troy loom up at me, huge cut stones settled by the hands of gods, and the gates, giant and black with old bronze. There are no archers on the towers. No one has returned. Troy is utterly unguarded. A child could take it now. The thought of Troy's fall pierces me with vicious pleasure. They deserve to lose their city. It is their fault, all of it. No more. My fingers find slight hollows in the stone. Climb. I am not graceful, but scrabbling. My hands clawing against the stone before they cling. Yet I am climbing. I will crack their uncrackable city and capture Helen. I imagine dragging her out under my arm, dumping her before Menelaus. Done. No more men will have to die for her vanity.
Patroclus!
A voice like music above me. I look up to see a man leaning on the walls as if sunning, dark hair to his shoulder. He is piercingly beautiful, a finely cut face that glows with something more than human. Black eyes, Apollo. He smiles as if this was all he had wanted, my recognition. Then he reaches down, his arm impossibly spanning the long distance between my clinging form and his feet. I close my eyes and feel only this, a finger hooking the back, plucking me off and dropping me below. I land heavily and begin again. I will not let it defeat me. I am delirious, fevered with my dream of Helen captive in my arms. I forget about the gods, why I have fallen, why my feet stick to the same crevices I have already climbed. And this time, when I look up, the god is not smiling. Fingers scoop the fabric of my tunic and hold me dangling. Then let me fall.
I am alone and unarmed, and they know that I am only Patroclus. Run! I lunge to my feet. A spear that I do not see comes from behind. It pierces the skin of my back, breaks again to air beneath my ribs. The Trojan faces waver, and I fall. My blood runs through my fingers and onto the grass. The crowd parts, and I see a tall figure walking towards me. I know him, hip bones like the carved cornice of a temple. He is coming to kill me. Hector. Remembrance drums in me. He cannot kill me. He must not. Achilles will not let him live if he does. And Hector must live. Always. He must never die. Not even when he is old. Not even when he is so old and withered. He must live because his life is the final dam before Achilles' own blood will flow. Please. Please. Hector's spear lifts over me. The last image I see is of Hector. The last thing I think is Achilles.
Achilles stands on the ridge, watching the dark shapes of battle move across the fields of Troy. The charge towards Troy is like the tide coming in. The glint of sword and armor is fish scale beneath the sun. He cannot make out individual faces or forms. The Greeks are routing the Trojans, as Patroclus had said. Soon he will return, and Agamemnon will kneel. They will be happy again.
But he cannot feel it. The writhing field is like a Gorgon's face, turning him slowly to stone. The snakes twist and twist before him, gathering into a dark knot at the base of Troy. A king has fallen, or a prince, and they are fighting for the body. Who? He shields his eyes and no more is revealed. Patroclus will be able to tell him.
He sees the thing in pieces. Men walking down the beach towards the camp. Odysseus limping beside the other kings. Menelaus has something in his arms. A grass-stained foot hangs loose. Locks of tousled hair have fallen from the makeshift shroud. The numbness now is merciful. A last few moments of it, then the fall. He reaches for his sword to slash his own throat. It's only when he comes up empty that he remembers he gave the sword to me. He falls upon the body. The knowledge rushes up at him, choking off breath. A scream comes, tearing its way out. Over and over until it is sound only. He holds me so tightly I can feel the faint beat of his chest, like the wings of a moth. An echo. The last bit of spirit still tethered to my body. A torment.
Who did this?
Hector.
Tomorrow! He's gone inside the city! Tomorrow! Listen to me, Paladins! Tomorrow you can kill him, I swear it! Now you must eat and rest!
He cradles me and will not eat, nor speak a word other than my name. I see his face as if through water, as a fish sees the sun. His tears fall, but I cannot wipe them away. This is my element now, the half-life of the unburied spirit. His mother comes. I hear her, waves breaking on the shore. If I disgusted her when I was alive, it is worse to find my corpse in her son's arms.
He is dead.
Hector is dead. Tomorrow.
You have no armor.
I do not need it.
He did it to himself.
Do not touch him.
I will bring you armor.
It goes like this, on and on. The tentative face, the tent flap opening. Phoenix or automaton or Machaon, at last Odysseus.
Agamemnon has come to see you and return the girl.
It is time to forget the division between us. I come to bring the girl, Achilles. Unarmed and well. Truly, a god must have snatched our wits from us to set us so at odds. But all that is over now, and we are allies once more. Prince Achilles, I hear you will fight tomorrow.
Yes.
Very good. That is very good. And you will fight after also.
If you wish. I do not care, I'll be dead soon enough.
Well, we are settled then. I was sorry to hear Patroclus' death. He fought bravely today. Did you hear? He killed Sarpedon.
I wish he'd let you all die.
We will leave you to mourn Prince Achilles.
Do not touch him.
He must be washed. He does not deserve to lie in filth.
I would not have your hands on him.
Do you think you are the only one who loved him?
Get out. Get out!
You care more for him in death than in life. How could you have let him go? You knew he could not fight.
Get out!
Kill me. It will not bring him back. He was worth 10 of you. 10! And you sent him to his death.
I tried to stop him. I told him not to leave the beach.
You were the one who made him go. He fought to save you and your darling reputation. because he could not bear to see you suffer. You have never deserved him. I do not know why he ever loved you. You care only for yourself. I hope that Hector kills you.
I think I do not hope the same.
He weeps as he lifts me onto our bed. He holds me all night long, pressing my cold hands to his mouth. At dawn, his mother returns with a shield and sword and breastplate, newly minted from still warm bronze. She watches him armed and does not try to speak to him.
He runs up the beach ahead of the Myrmidons, past the Greeks who have come out to sea. They grab their arms and follow. They do not want to miss it. Hector! Hector! He tears through the advancing Trojan ranks, shattering chests and faces, marking them with the meteor of his fury. Yet Hector eludes him, weaving through the chariots and men. With the luck of the gods, no one calls it cowardice that he runs. He will not live if he is caught. He is wearing Achilles' own armor, taken from beside my corpse. There is a grove at the base of Troy's high walls. It is there at last that Hector stops running. Beneath its branches, the two men face.
Grant me this. When I die, bring my body back to my family.
There are no bargains between lions and men. I'll kill you and eat you raw.
He drags Hector's body, pulling it behind the chariots as the horses run. He leaves the corpse outside our tent and returns to where my body waits. He is red and rust red, up to his elbows, his knees, his neck. The king of Greece is waiting for him.
You have triumphed today, Achilles. Bathe and rest yourself. We shall feast in your honor.
We'll have no feast.
Hokomaros.
His mother calls him in her softest voice, swift-faded.
Will you not eat?
You know I will not. Stop!
It is time to return Hector's body to his family for burial. You have killed him and taken your vengeance. It is enough!
It will never be enough.
For the first time since my death, he falls into a fitful, trembling sleep. Achilles, I cannot bear to see you grieving. Give us both peace. Burn me and bury me. I will wait for you among the shades. I will.
Patroclus! Patroclus, wait, I'm here.
He shakes the body beside him. When I do not answer, he weeps again. He rises at dawn to drag Hector's body around the walls of the city for all of Troy to see. He does it again at midday and again at evening. How long can this go on? His mother is waiting for him in the tent, tall and straight as a flame.
What do you want?
You must stop this. Apollo is angry. He seeks vengeance upon you.
Let him.
Achilles, you go too far in this. I will not be able to protect you.
I do not need you to.
Do not be a fool. It is only my power that keeps...
What does it matter? He is dead. Can your power bring him back?
No. Nothing can.
Do you think I cannot see you rejoicing? I know how you hated him. You have always hated him. If you had not gone to Zeus, he'd be alive.
He is a mortal. and mortals die.
I am immortal! What good is God if it cannot do this? What good are you?
I know you are mortal. I know it better than anyone. I left you too long on Pelion. It has ruined you. This is not my son.
Then who is it, Mother? Am I not famous enough? I've killed Hector, and who else? Send them all before me. I'll kill them all.
You act like a child. At 12, Pyrrhus is more of a man than you.
Pyrrhus.
He will come, and Troy will fall. The city cannot be taken without him.
You would bring him here.
He's the next Aristos Achaeon.
I am not dead
You
yet.
may as well be. Do you know what I have borne to make you great? And now you would destroy it for this? I am done. There is no more I can do to save you. I am glad that he is dead.
It is the last thing that you will ever say to him. In the deepest reaches of the night, an old man comes to our tent.
I have come for my son, Prince Hector. Will you hear a father's prayer, mighty Prince of Thea, best of the Greeks?
I will hear you, King Priam.
The blessings of the gods upon your kindness. I have come far this night in hope. I am sorry to appear so meanly before you.
Do not kneel.
Thank you for your hospitality. I have heard you are a noble man. I throw myself. We are enemies, yet you have never been known as cruel. I beg you to return my son's body for burial, so his soul does not wander lost.
You showed courage to come here alone. How did you get into the camp?
I was guided by the grace of the gods.
How did you know I would not kill you?
I did not know. That is your friend?
Philotanos, most beloved best of the Greeks and slaughtered by your son.
I am sorry for your loss, and sorry that it was my son who took him from you. Yet, I beg you to have mercy. In grief, men must help each other, though they are enemies.
And if I will not?
Then you will not.
I could kill you still.
I know, but it is worth my life. If there is a chance, my son's soul may be at rest. It is right to seek peace for the dead. You and I both know there is no peace for those who live after.
No. It is close to dawn. I do not want you to be in danger as you travel home. I will send my servant to prepare your son's body.
The next morning, Achilles carries my body to the pyre.
He places it on the wood and strikes the flint. The flames surround me, and I feel myself slipping further from life, thinning to only the faintest shiver in the air. I long for the darkness and silence of the underworld where I can rest. Achilles collects my ashes himself, though this is a woman's duty. He places them in a golden urn, the finest in our camp, and speaks to the waiting Greeks.
When I am dead, I charge you all to mingle our ashes and bury us together.
Hector and Sarpedon are dead, but other heroes come to take their place. Anatolia is rich with allies and those making common cause against invaders. First is Memnon, and Pensalia, and then Troilus, the youngest son of Priam. Wearily, Achilles kills them all. Within the walls of Troy, a bow is strung quickly by rushing hands, an arrow is selected, and princely feet hurry upstairs to a tower tilting over a battlefield filled with dead and dying, to where a god is waiting. Paris knocks his arrow.
Where do I aim? I heard he was invulnerable.
He is a man, not a god. Shoot him and he will die.
Paris aims. The god touches his finger to the arrow's fletching and breathes. A puff of air, as if to send dandelions flying, to push toy boats over water. The arrow flies, straight and silent, in a downward curving arc towards Achilles' back. He hears the faint hum of its passage a second before it strikes. He turns his head as if to watch it come. He closes his eyes and feels its point push through skin, part thick muscle worm its way past the interlacing fingers of his ribs. There, at last, is his heart. Blood spills from his shoulder blades, dark and slick as oil. Achilles smiles as his face strikes the earth.
The sea nymphs come for the body, trailing their seafoam robes behind them. They wash him with rose oil and nectar and weave flowers through his golden hair. The Myrmidons build him a pyre. He is placed on it. The nymphs weep. As the flames consume him, his beautiful body lost to bones and gray ash, but many do not weep. Briseis, who stands watching until the last embers have gone out. Thetis, her spine straight, black hair loose and snaky in the wind. The men, kings in common, they gather at a distance, afraid of the eerie keening of the nymphs and of Thetis' thunderbolt eyes. The pyre burns itself out. If the ashes are not collected soon, they will be lost to the winds. But Thetis, whose office it is, does not move. At last, Odysseus is sent to speak with her.
Goddess, we would know your will. Shall we collect the ashes?
Collect them. Bury them. I have done all I will do.
Great Thetis, your son wished that we would place...
I know what he wished. Do what you will. It is not my concern.
Servant girls are sent to collect the ashes. They carry them to the urn where I rest. Will I feel his ashes as they fall against mine? I think of the snowflakes on Pelion, cold on our red cheeks. The yearning for him is like hunger, hollowing me. Somewhere his soul waits, but it is nowhere I can reach. Bury us and mark our names above. Let us be free. It
his ashes settle amongst mine. And I feel nothing. Agamemnon calls a council to discuss the tomb that they will build.
We should place it in the field, near where you fell.
It would be more central on the beach by the Agora.
That's the last thing we want, tripping over it every day.
On the hill then, the ridge by their camp.
Wherever.
I've come to take my father's place.
The heads of the kings twist toward the tent flap. A boy stands framed in the tent's doorway. His hair is bright red, the color of the fire's crust. He is beautiful, but coldly so, a winter's morning. Only the dullest would not know which father he means. It is stamped in every line of his face, so close it tears at me. Only his chin is different, angling sharply downwards to a point, as his mother's did.
I'm the son of Achilles.
May we know the name of Achilles' son?
My name is Neoptolemus, called Pyrrhus.
Fire.
Where's my father's seat? I pardon your presumption. You did not know I was coming. Lord of Mycenae, Lord of Sparta, I come to offer myself to your army.
You do not seem old enough.
12. He is 12.
I have lived with the gods beneath the sea. I have drunk their nectar and feasted on ambrosia. I come now to win the war for you. The fates have said that Troy will not fall without you.
What?
If it is so, we are indeed glad to have you. We were talking of your father's tomb, where to build it.
On the hill.
A fitting place for them.
Them?
Your father and his companion, Patroclus.
Why should this man be buried beside Aristos Achaeon?
It was your father's wish, Prince Neoptolemus, that their ashes be placed together. We cannot bury one without the other.
A slave has no place in his master's tomb. If the ashes are together, it cannot be undone, but I will not allow my father's fame to be diminished. The monument is for him alone.
Do not let it be so. Do not leave me here without him.
Very well. It shall be as you say.
I am air and thought and can do nothing.
The greater the monument, the greater the man. The stone the Greeks quarry for light stretching up to the sky. Achilles it reads. It will stand for him and speak to all who pass. He lived and died and lives again in memory.
The banners of Pyrrhus bear the emblem of Skyros, his mother's land, Nauplia. His men too are from Skyros. Dutifully, Automaton lines up the Myrmidons and women in welcome. They watch him make his way up the shore. His gleaming new minted troops, his red gold hair like a flame against the blue of the sky.
I am the son of Achilles. I claim you as my inheritance and birthright. Your loyalty is mine now. What's your name?
Briseis.
Oh, I've heard of you. You're the reason my father stopped fighting.
My lord.
My father broke with the army for you. You must have been a good bed slave.
You honor me, my lord, to say so, but I do not believe it was for me that he refused to fight.
Why then, in your slave's opinion?
I was a war prize, and Agamemnon dishonored him in taking me. That is all.
Were you not his bed slave?
No, my lord.
Enough! Do not lie to me again. You are the best woman in camp. You were his.
I would not have you think better of me than I deserve. I was never so fortunate.
Why? What is wrong with you?
My lord, have you heard of the man who is buried with your father?
Of course I have not heard of him. He's no one.
Yet your father loved him well and honored him. He would be well pleased to know that they were buried together. He had no need of me. My lord—
Silence! I'll let you know what it means to lie to Aristos Achaeon. Come here.
My lord, I am sorry I have displeased you. You may ask anyone, Phoenix or Automaton. They will tell you what I say is true.
I'm giving you an order.
Run. Do not go to him.
My lord, what would you have of me?
Whatever I want.
I do not see the blade in her hand, and then it is swinging down on him, but she has never killed a man before. She does not know with what strength you need to drive it, nor with what conviction, and he is turning away already. She runs towards the sea.
Throw it. A moment.
Her limbs lift into the gray waves. I feel wild triumph as she pulls farther and farther from shore. The only man whose spear could have reached her is dead. The only man but that man's son. He throws the spear point. Soundless and precise, it moves through the air. It hits her back like a stone tossed onto a floating leaf. The gulp of black water swallows her whole. Phoenix sends a man out, a diver, to search for the body, but he does not find it. Perhaps her gods are kinder than ours, and she will find rest. I would give my life again to make it so. The prophecy told truly. Now Pyrrhus is home. Troy falls. He does not do it alone, of course. There is the horse. And Odysseus' plan, and a whole army besides. But he is the one who kills Priam. He is the one who hunts down Hector's wife, Andromache, hiding in a cellar with her son. He plucks the child from her arms and dashes his head against the wall. So hard the skull shatters like a rotted fruit. Even Agamemnon blanched when he heard. The bones of the city are cracked and sucked dry. The Greek kings stuffed their holds with gold columns and princesses. Faster than I could have thought possible, they packed the camp, the tents rolled and stored, the food killed and stored. The beach is stripped clean like a well-picked carcass. I haunt their dreams. Do not leave, I beg them, not until you have given me rest. But if anyone hears, they do not answer. The Greeks sail tomorrow, and I am desperate. Odysseus! He sleeps lightly, eyelids fluttering. Odysseus! When you came to him for help, I answered you. Will you not answer me now? You know what he was to me. You saw before you brought us here. Our peace is on your head.
My apologies for disturbing you so late, Prince Pyrrhus.
I do not sleep.
How convenient. No wonder you get so much more done than the rest of us. You must be pleased with all you've done here. Hero by 13. Not many men can say so.
No other man. What do you want?
I'm afraid I've been prompted by a rare stirring of guilt.
Oh?
We sail tomorrow and leave many Greek dead behind. All of them properly buried with a name to mark their memory. All but one. I'm not a pious man, but I do not like to think of souls wandering among the living. I prefer to take my ease unmolested by restless spirits. I cannot say I was your father's friend, nor he mine, but I admired his skill, and I valued him as a soldier. And in 10 years, you get to know a man, even if you don't wish to. So I can tell you now, I do not think he would want Patroclus to be forgotten.
Did he say so?
He asked that their ashes be placed together. He asked that they be buried as one. In the spirit of this, I think we can say he wished it.
I am his son. I am the one who says what his spirit wishes for.
Which is why I came to you. I have no stake in this. I'm merely an honest man who likes to see right done.
Is it right that my father's fame should be diminished by a commoner?
Patroclus was no commoner. He was born a prince in exile. He served bravely in the army. He was admired by many men. He killed Sarpedon, second only to Hector.
In my father's armor, with my father's fame, he has none of his own.
True. But fame is a strange thing. Some men gain glory after they die, while others fade. What's admired in one generation is abhorred in another. We cannot say who will survive the Holocaust of memory. But perhaps someday, even I will be famous. Perhaps more famous than you.
I doubt it.
We cannot say. We are men only brief flares of the torch. Those to come may raise or lower us as they please. Patroclus may be such as will rise in the future.
He is not.
Then it would be a good deed, an act of charity, piety, to honor your father and let a dead man rest.
He is a blot on my father's honor and a blot on my own. I will not allow it.
Do you have a wife? Of course not. I have a wife. I have not seen her for 10 years. I do not know if she is dead, or if I will die before I can return to her. My consolation is that we will be together in the underworld. We will meet again there, if not in this life. I would not wish to be there without her.
My father had no such wife.
I have done my best. Let it be remembered that I tried.
I remember. The Greeks sailed, taking my hopes with them. I cannot follow. I am tied here to this earth, where my ashes lie. I curl myself around the stone obelisk of his tomb. Perhaps it is cold to the touch. Perhaps warm. I cannot tell. Achilles, it reads, and nothing more. He has gone to the underworld, and I am here. Thetis comes. I watch her withering the grass where she stands. I have not felt such hatred for her in a long time. She made Pyrrhus and loved him more than Achilles. She stands staring at the scenes on the tomb, death after death. She reaches as if she would touch them. I cannot bear it. Thetis! Her hand jerks back. She vanishes. Later she returns. Thetis? She does not hear. Only stands, staring at the tomb. I am buried here, in your son's grave. She says nothing, does nothing. She does not react. Every day she comes. She sits at the base of the tomb. It's as if I could feel her cold through the earth, the slight searing smell of salt in the air. I cannot make her leave, but I can hate her. You said Chiron ruined him. You are a goddess, and cold, and know nothing. You are the one who ruined him. Look at how he will be remembered now. Killing Hector, killing Troilus for things he did cruelly in his grief. Her face is as the stone itself. It does not move. The days rise and fall. Perhaps such things pass for virtue among the gods, but how is there honor in taking the life? We die so easily. Would you have him be another Pyrrhus? Let the memories of him be something more.
What more?
I am not afraid. What else can she do to me? Returning Hector's body to Priam. That should be remembered.
And?
His skill with the lyre. His beautiful voice. The girls. He took them so that they would not suffer at another king's
That
hand.
was your doing.
Why are you not with Pyrrhus?
He is dead.
How?
He was killed by Agamemnon's son.
For what?
He stole his bride and ravished her.
Was this the son you preferred to Achilles?
Have you no more memories?
I am made of memories.
Speak.
But the ache for him is stronger than my anger. I want to speak of something not dead or divine. I want him to live. At first it is strange. I am so used to keeping him from her, to hoarding him for myself. But the memories well up like spring water, faster than I can hold them back. They do not come as words, but as dreams, rising as scent from the rain-wet earth. This, I say, this, and this. The way his hair looked in the summer sun. His face when he ran. His eyes solemn as an owl's at lessons. This. And this. And this. So many moments of happiness crowding forward. She closes her eyes. The skin over them is the color of sand in winter. She listens, and she too remembers. She remembers standing on a beach. Hair long and black as a horse's tail. Slate gray waves smash against rocks. Then a mortal's hands brutal and bruising on her polished skin. The sand scraping her raw and the tearing inside. The gods after tying her to him. She feels the child within her, luminous in the dark of her womb. She repeats to herself the prophecy that the three old women spoke to her.
Your son will be greater than his father.
The other gods had recoiled to hear it. They knew what powerful sons do to their fathers. They gave her to a mortal, trying to shackle the child's power, dilute him with humanity, diminish him. She rests her hand on her stomach, feels him swimming within her. It is her blood that will give him strength and make him strong, but not strong enough. I am immortal! He screams at her. His face blotchy and sodden and dull. Why do you not go to him?
I cannot. I cannot go beneath the earth. This is all that is left.
I'm eternity loose. I conjure the boy I knew. Achilles. Hands blurring as he juggles the figs. His green eyes laughing into mine. Catch, he says. Achilles, outlined against the sky, hanging from a branch over the river. The thick warmth of his sleepy breath against my ear. If you have to go, I will go with you. My fears forgotten in the golden harbor of his arms. The memories come and come. She stares into the grain of the stone. We are all there. Goddess and mortal, and the boy who was both. Who watches the sun sinks into the grave of the western sky. She is beside me, silent in the blurry, creeping dusk. Her face is as unmarked as the first day I saw her. Her hands are crossed over her chest as if to hold some thought to herself. I have told her all. I have spared nothing of any of it. We watch as the sun sinks behind the sea.
I could not make him a god.
But you made him. She does not answer me for a long time. Only sits, eyes shining with the last of the dying light.
I have done it.
First, I do not understand. And then I see the tomb and the marks that she has made upon the stone. Achilles, it reads. And then beside it, Patroclus.
Go. He waits for you.
In the darkness, two shadows reaching through the hopeless, heavy dusk. Their hands meet, and light spills in a flood.
Like 100 golden urns pouring out the sun.